Hey guys, today I want to show you my take on how to play Poland. It's going to be a little different from what you've seen. Again, my style is always forming Piedmont and Prussia to get super high value from those mission trees before you form the Commonwealth. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Let's jump into it. Start off by checking if Austria is rival to Bohemia. If he isn't, go ahead and restart. In my case, he is, so that's perfect. And we're going to start off by getting some alliances with different electors. Now, there's a situation that you might need to restart, and that's if Trier has both Cologne and Mainz as rivals, then you want to restart. In my case, he's only rivaled to the one, so it's not going to be a problem. Go ahead and start allying to all the different electors, and you should be okay. You got to wait a day between each different alliance you send. You might have to improve relations with a couple of them before they will accept that offer, and that's totally normal. So Poland has a unique mission where you want high crown land, and you also can't have 2 nobility privileges, so let's play around that. Where some of the diet seize land. This one looks pretty easy. And we're not going to grant out many privileges to start, but we do want our religious diplomats here, as well as patronage of the arts here, and we can kind of just leave that for now. Go ahead and look for the debate that is going to be a Crownland debate. In my case, it is not here yet, so I'm going to wait a month, and you can just keep re-rolling every month until you find that Crownland one. So for now, let's go ahead and start improving our relations with Mainz, as he will not quite become our friend. And we're going to also improve relations with Burgundy. You're going to want the Burgundian inheritance, of course. Why wouldn't you want free land, right? That's the way I look at it. Now you can go ahead and rival to both Bohemia and Hungary, as well as the Teutons. You'll surpass the Teutons, and it's just basically free power projection. I'd recommend turning off your maintenance and just letting the game play for a bit. If Sweden wants independence, I would recommend not supporting him. Keep checking back every month for this Crown Land event. Here it is for me, and that will be nice. So I should be at 40 Crown Land, just need another 10. You can send the electors that aren't allying you gifts if you need, and you should be able to get them to ally to you. So in my case, I'm now allied to every elector besides Bohemia. Let me double check that. Looks good. Okay, I haven't actually allied to him yet as well, so I need to get my alliance with Brandenburg still. We'll perhaps send him a gift, get that rolling along. And now we can grab this alliance. All right, so we have our electors in hand, and we're just going to kind of be hanging out. We still haven't got the Jagiellian event. That'll happen in just a moment, surely. You can also send an insult to Burgundy's rivals. So I could go and send an insult to Austria. Why not? You can also grab a diplomat here, a Diplo rep guy. In my case, he's a little expensive for me. So if he was a rank 1, though, I could grab that, and that would help. Here is the event we're looking for, the successor of Władysław. Select, we need a Jagiellian. This is the personal union with Lithuania. That is good. You can now go to your missions. You'll notice you'll need 90% force limit, which we're going to get mercenaries in just a second. And then Bohemia needs to be insulted because he is not rivaling me, only I am rivaling him. So we're going to send an insult to him. Before we get our mercenaries, we're going to grab the burgher loans. The reason I didn't grab the burgher loans earlier was just in case I needed to influence nation with some of the electors. You can't be in debt if you're going to do that, but those guys are taken care of now, so I'm going to do indebted with the burghers. And we're going to grab a mercenary group, and we're going to hopefully find one with really good siege. Depending on our RNG, we don't know. We got 1 siege. Okay, so not the best RNG in my case. Hopefully in your game you have better than a 1 siege, but hey, sometimes the RNG is not with you on every area. We can go ahead and turn back on our maintenance. Just wait a minute. We're trying to get this alliance. We can actually grab that advisor if you're a little bit, that Diplo rep guy we were talking about earlier. And we should be able to grab that alliance. Make sure you send the royal marriage as well, so you can get that inheritance. But very good. And we're still waiting for one more event before we start this war. It's going to be Moldavia event, where he becomes a vassal of ours or Hungary's. You can curry favors with Burgundy, so he can help you in the next war. Something I would recommend. Here's this event I was waiting for: support for Roman of Moldavia. Go ahead and fund Roman effort with coin. And if they don't accept your demands, just go ahead and scum save. Not a big deal. Let's give this a second try here. And there we go. That's the normal RNG. I think it's about 75% chance to get it. So now that that's done, we'll grab the mission. Select they answer to me. This makes him a normal subject or a vassal. With that out of the way, we can go ahead and declare our first war, which is going to be on Bohemia. Restoration of Union. So we're going to declare our first war and do Restoration of Union on Bohemia. As you see, Austria will not join. And you should be able to handle this without any help. And go for the forts. Get your siege general if you did get. Hopefully you got a better one than this 1 siege one, but go ahead and get your siege general. Something you also can do is curry favors with Saxony, and you can call him in the middle of this war, just to be kind of a target, more or less. All right, and now I got the favors. I'm going to call in Saxony. He's more or less just a distraction for Bohemia, and he's a strong enough of a distraction that he won't have to duel with you or anything like that. Like, I wouldn't want to call in Cologne because he probably would just get like, you know, destroyed and forced to duel with me. So don't call in any of the smaller electors. Now, something I failed to mention that you actually want to check for earlier is make sure that Hungary and Austria are allies. For this to work properly, you're going to need them to ally. They usually are allied, but just you probably want to double check before you get too far into the game. Make sure your curry favors with Burgundy. You can call them into the next war just to make it a little easier. That should be quite helpful. Make sure you have +1 advisors. I totally spaced this. Do this way sooner than I did. Also grab your 1 stab. Go ahead and end this war now. You don't need anything crazy as far as war score. You can take a bit money. Like if you really wanted to sell out, take a little more money, you could. It's just kind of not that important. But I'm gonna go ahead and grab that union and end the war. A little bit of money. You'll get a rival slot open, and I would recommend you rival the Ottomans. And you can also rival to Muscovy. You're going to be attacking both of them in the near future. You can complete your mission, the Throne of Bohemia. Now we're going to have to wait for our truce to expire with Hungary before we do this next war. And so your goal is to be ready for that war by the time it hits. My recommendation is to stand on the border of Austria and also improve relations with Bohemia. Don't forget about that. Go ahead and seize land before your next war. This should be before you attack Hungary, that is. I'm going to seize land. There'll be a few rebels. No issue. Next war is going to be our Restoration of Union on Hungary. And you'll see you can call in a bunch of different people. That's totally fine. Just make sure that you don't call in any weak electors, someone that's going to peace out of the war very easily. I'll declare this war. I'm just going to call in Burgundy for now. I might call in more people later. I just want to start sieging his capital of Wien before that. So that way the dismantle won't get interrupted by someone else losing their capital. Now, if you want a really inefficient way to do this, which I like inefficient ways, send all your guys to the capital. However, go to 4 speed. For just a second. Let's stand here so we don't accidentally fight him while we're going there. Now he's gone. He's vacated. We can go to 5 speed, run to his capital, and basically just kind of hang out. If you sack all your guys like I am, he shouldn't actually attack you. Once you have a comfortable amount of the province siege, you can then go ahead and call in all those elector friends that we were just a little nervous about calling in initially. So just call in everyone. Perfectly fine. So the siege is over. We can go ahead and get our dismantle. Yes, it's a very nice dismantle, 1450. And that is going to give us max prestige as well. Very nice. From here, you can peace out. Austria, he'll definitely want to leave if you've got his capital. So I generally will just take kind of whatever feels good. You can either take some money, or you could take war revs, but whichever works for you. I'm just going to take a bit of money and let him leave. So now we're just left with Hungary, and it's going to be relatively easy from here. As you see, it's ridiculously, not a fair war at this point. I would recommend improving your advisor to an improved relations advisor, and furthermore, go to your trade and go to established communities. So this give you a bit of a boost for improved relations. You can do that with both of them. They should encompass different nations. Just a little tip to help. You'll lose a little bit of money for doing this, but it's by far worth it. Kind of want to get that improved relation to a very nice point. Go ahead and get that union now and some money. That should be nice. Again, we're going to need to improve relations with him. And we got our first major wars out of the way. Now, coalitions might form for this, but you're not really scared. You just might have to start improving relations with some people in a bit. Don't worry about coalitions. It's going to happen. Not a big deal. And for this mission, if you want to be min-max, you could build some buildings for a little bit more manpower. I don't really care to, but if you want to min-max it, that's up to you. I would recommend jumping straight into the war with Wallachia after this, as the Ottomans are going to be gunning for it. So I'm going to go ahead and declare war on Wallachia. And I definitely meant to break my alliances before this war, so don't do what I did. But definitely break those alliances with the electors. And make sure that when you end this war, you assign all the provinces to Moldavia. And the reason why I'll show you is, if I was to take these all, notice my crown land would change in a negative way, so they would get more crown land. So instead, if I give it to Moldavia, who I want to have it anyways, that will not be the case. There we go. That'll be much better. I'm going to grant all to Moldavia, take some money, and that should be good. At some point, I would recommend that you force Moldavia's religion. It's going to make him a little upset, so be prepared to possibly, dev up his provinces a little bit, maybe placate, and that should be good. You got to keep him in check, but you do want him to be your religion, so when you do finally annex him, it's a little bit easier. Now we're going to do what we should have done before the war and break those alliances. Still have, so let's go ahead and get rid of all of the electors. Check your relations. Okay, I still have mains. Got to get rid of that. And I still will be 1 over my limit. That should be perfectly fine. It's not a huge problem. Eventually, I want to improve relations with Muscovy, just so you can annex him. I'm going to roll marriage first. And we got quite the coalition forming. Not really a worry of ours, though. It's not really going to do anything. I recommend that you start working on your coalition targets. So look at your nation, see how you got a billion people in a coalition. Just start going and improving relations with each person. Once they hit 50 relations, they will leave. So you're kind of just going to be in the process of going to random nations and just improve relations with them. Once they leave the coalition, you'll move on to some other nations. Next, I'm going to go ahead and go to war with the Ottomans, as if you can cripple them while they're still a relatively weak nation, then that will help. So I'm just going to go ahead and declare war on the Ottomans. This should be a relatively hard war. Just kind of be careful. The important goal in the war should, of course, be getting that province Tulsu. If you use that, just get that quickly. So throughout the war, you're getting war scored the entire time. Oh, I should probably look for a... Oh, no, that was the wrong button. Don't do that, guys. Don't promote when you're trying to fire. I do that all the time. Do not do it. I also recommend paying attention. Like, in this case, I wasn't paying any attention. So in my case, I wasn't paying attention here, so that's a dead group of units, and I won't be able to reinforce in time. So you can always pull out the bank when you are playing poorly. It's always a good option to pull out the credit card. I would recommend paying attention would be your the better way. But sometimes there's a lot of stuff that goes on at once, and especially 5-speed. Now that I've thrown very solidly in this war, I'm going to go ahead and go down to 4-speed, which is probably something I should have done at the start of the war. And I'm going to see if I can find a better advisor. Perhaps I can find a advisor that will actually help me in battles, so that would be a bonus. The Ottomans just have the most morale, and we have 0 morale, so we are struggling right now. But let's get this morale of armies. Yeah, and your allies or your subjects are generally really stupid, and you can't rely on them. So that's just part of the game. We're handily losing this war. Remember, it's also like an attrition thing. Like he can't really keep up with how much guys you have to throw at him. Like you and your subjects will eventually whittle away his manpower. If you notice, he already only has 3,000 manpower. So we can slowly start just going for the strategy of just keep throwing guys at him, and we'll get there eventually. You notice I have got him down to 1,000 manpower left, so definitely winning that side of the things. We have a new debate, and we're going to do that same type of thing where we're just kind of, every month look for crown land debate. And of course that should move our crown land to 50%, which we've been kind of pushing towards. But the Ottomans and Venice are also taking part in this war at this point. They're like, okay, I want to jump in on this. Poland's depleted their manpower. You got Venice in here fighting for us. Nice. Funny enough. I managed to get the event to show up here, so I'm going to grab this more crown land. We'll do whatever's the least painful here. It's all kind of painful, but whatever. Alright, we got to 50% crown land. Seems like Burgundy's losing to France. He didn't call me in, so I'm kind of just disappointed in him. Maybe he knew I was a little busy, but still, I would have dropped what I was doing to, make sure France is being down a little bit. I got my priorities. The Ottomans are fully out of manpower, and they, for some reason, they generally won't hire mercenaries. So your mercenaries are, doing the good work. And here's this event. This has to do with our crown land here. And we're going to hit refuse to sign. And this is kind of annoying that this is happening right now because, well, we're in the middle of the war with the Ottomans, but we're going to have to just kind of make it work, right? We're going to go back and fight some rebels for a minute. Very good timing, of course. I'm going to wait to click the event until I get there. It's kind of funny it's happening now, but whatever. So I'll hit refuse to sign. Go ahead and grab a few more loans. I am dealing with a lot of rebels and stuff right now, so getting an extra mercenary company is going to be helpful. I'll grab this Curtal Noble privileges just to have a little bit more money, and their influence goes down. We're going to have a little bit of influence problems with them, so that's not a bad call. I'm going to finish them off. I also say this war has been a little painful. I did not fight it the best. However, what's good about fighting him is that he has money, and at the worst case, I can at least recoup my financial losses, and of course probably take a couple things from him as well. So this is what I'm going to take from the Ottomans: money, war reps, and a couple provinces. And the reason I'm doing that is because the war hurt me a lot financially because I fought it poorly, but that is totally okay because I'm going to cripple him financially, and which I already have done, I'm sure, but even more so now, and that should be more than okay. And this will help me pay off my loan situation as well. I could take the bait and pay off the institution even, but we're not going to do that. We're instead going to cover our loans. And I was able to cover all the high interest loans. I just have my 4 burger loans, and I even have a little bit of money left. So not the worst all in all. We got a couple provinces, and of course we crippled him. He's going to be paying us 4 reps, so not the best fought. I will admit that could have been played a lot better. However, the important part of the war was to cripple the Ottomans, and I think we accomplished our goal. But we're going to go ahead and seize land to get back above that 50 crown land, deal with these rebels, and then we can complete that mission. But we are going to have to be ready to fight a lot of rebels, so keep that in mind when you are considering doing that. So you'll notice this mission can be complete, so I'm going to go ahead and stack my guys up just so they don't like spawn on top of me or something weird like that. And then I'm going to do this. You'll actually get 100 gov cap. You can revoke privileges regardless of loyalty and influence, but then you're going to get like 60 rebels-ish. So here they are. And let's deal with the ones that don't. The forts aren't going to help, so you notice I'm dealing with this one first because there's a fort and a fort here. So I'm going to go and just deal with these rebels one by one. And I also need to keep improving relations with those different guys who are in the coalition with me. So let's go ahead and go to some of these guys, start improving relations. It takes a minute to break off this coalition, but you'll get there. And you'll generally get this event at around 1460 in March. The Prussian Confederation seeks Polish support and just say they have our full support to battle. Usually they call you into the war, but for some reason he's not calling me into the war. We can't explain this event. Okay. Never seen that one before, but what do you do? Very weird. Okay. So usually he'll call you in and you can take the provinces, but the game's being weird for me, so yeah. Sometimes the game does weird stuff and you just have to roll with it. And really, we have a Muscovy that hasn't attacked Novgorod. Very abnormal. Now, I got 2 admin 5. I'm going to go ahead and go with espionage ideas. Actually, just paid back a loan as well. But I'm going to pick espionage ideas. We're going to be attacking in Europe a bunch. And we're actually going to have to attack the Teutons now, specifically. It's really, really weird. I'm going to go ahead and start annexing our subject here, which is going to be Muscovy. Annexing. Make sure you have... Oh, and now, I forgot about this, but now that I finished that mission, I can go ahead and do the Crown Land stuff. Get your mana privileges... and get your rest of your things. So maybe like your advisor cost ones, oversight. We can grab strong duchies now that we finally have that. And I'm gonna grab supremacy over the crown I'll grab supremacy over the crown as well. Let's do the advisor costs, and let's do the advisor costs here, and finally the advisor costs here. And for enterprise, and we should be good to go. We got to get our crown land back, but now we can have all our regular privileges. And we should be able to, soon when we kind of recoup a little bit, we're going to get advisors again. And keep improving relations with different electors. There's different electors. No way, sure, you guys. What I mean is keep improving relations with the coalition members. One by one, you'll get rid of them, and you'll get out of your situation that you're in. I'd recommend putting just like a point or two into the papal controller too every now and again. Like, you never know, guys. But for me, I tend to get lucky here at least once in the game, and I'll get the papal controller. And I'm going to root a few forts just so I can make a little bit more money, where our economy is a little bit questionable right now. Although I like most of my forts, I probably don't need a fort here either. And I kind of want to attack Muscovy because he's got like no Miltech 4 for one. And he's just allied to Sweden. Yeah, I think that's fine to do. Let's just go ahead and do this. It's allied to Sweden, but I don't really mind that. But my kind of early game goals kind of reached here is basically you want to dismantle the HRE, which I did, get all your subjects, and then cripple the Ottomans and cripple Muscovy. So those are kind of your main early game goals. And also don't get crippled yourself. This is probably a good one. This is the last time I'll mention it, but improving relations to get rid of the coalition. I've been doing it for a while, and there'll be a lot of members in it, but one by one they will vanish. But this is the last time I will remind you of that. Guys, we're in great shape. Looks like the Ottomans with innovative ideas, and so if they are going to be useless, we love to see it. And I'm also going to grab this little policy here, the integration policy, so I don't get those negative penalties. And I need to make sure that no one's disloyal. Looks like Moldavia's a little upset, so we can placate him a bit. Go ahead and grab this justified wars with my first age perk. And start going towards my espionage ideas here. And you could even focus your Diplo would probably be a good idea because you're going to be so far behind with all the annexation you have to do and that sort of thing. Although I will say it's not the worst thing I didn't have to get this guy as a subject now, because I mean it's a pretty good event though. So I'm kind of like, yeah, that would have been nice, but I'm not like that upset that it turned out the way it did, because that's just another subject to have to annex. As a general rule, I'd recommend taking the Catholic Reform Desire event, as you're going to want the Reformation to happen. Generally that is good for you overall. Eventually we're going to be forming Prussia, as I mentioned, and we're going to need that to happen. A lot of times when you dismantle early, the HRE gets kind of eaten up a lot of times, so there's less nations to get the Reformation to happen sooner. So you always want to do what you can to help. And I'm always looking for these Crown Land events here, and still we can get them pretty easily. This Crown Land is always something that we're going to struggle with early on, especially because we recently granted the man with privileges. We're going to start looking towards annexing Moldavia, so we're going to get those relations increased. And white peace Sweden in this war, so it'll be just Muscovy. And keep in mind you can always take money when you need money. So normally Muscovy would probably have this region and I would give this to Lithuania, but since he doesn't, we're just going to give whatever else here. We're just going to give a bunch. But what I want to do is actually take money and then provinces. So I'm going to take maximum money, these provinces, feed them all to Lithuania. So that looks good. And so I can grab the institution now. thanks to our friend Muscovy, but I'm also going to grant all of these provinces away to Lithuania. We'll have to eventually, you can only grant so many to Lithuania, but it's quite a bit, especially the event later that will have us grabbing a bunch of his provinces, so that'll free him up to grab even more. Go and grant them all to him, and that can probably take care of, let's see, can that take care of all our loans? Yes. So we've got our institution, all our loans taken care of. There, the coalition has officially dismantled, except for Novgorod, which is a member of one. I'm sure that'll change soon. And we're just kind of looking around who we want to attack next. Yeah, I'm getting alliance with France just so in case I need to break his alliance with like the Ottomans later, because sometimes the Ottomans have that event, then I can do that. So we can even start currying favors with him, just in case we need to break some alliances. We're going to take a look at our autonomy. We might need to be lowering autonomy. No, actually pretty good. Actually pretty autonomous here. And we will start annexing this guy shortly. Oh, and of course now that I annex that guy, I can move my capital to Warsaw, however you say that. Warsaw. It's now time for our war against the Ottomans. Our truce has expired, so let's jump into it. And we're going to go to 4 speed before the war, before we throw this time, just to kind of make things a little bit easier. We're going to grab that war goal straight early in the war too, so it can be ticking away the whole time. I like how Europe allows you these satellites that can view directly into a nation's manpower reserves. Very nice. Very nice tech they had in the 1470s. So they have pretty low manpower. That's nice. And we can go ahead and just kind of attack in. And we're going to get this state propaganda. This is the big one. That's going to help us in Europe, which we're going to be moving into. We've just kind of just been going about that. Basically, we had to wait a long time after we got all of this, all of this land here in those first two wars of the game. But things have relaxed. One thing to remember, your biggest tool for winning the Ottomans is draining his manpower. So feel free to trade your manpower a bit. It's like I still have 10,000 manpower, he's at 0, but yes, feel free to, you can even take some, you can take some bad battles. You just need to drain his manpower. I will say, generally the Ottomans are going to be your hardest war, or wars. It's always going to be a bit of a pain to deal with the Ottomans, I feel like. Feel free to even take loans and merc up a bit versus the Ottomans. So remember that you can make them pay for, the war, basically. Actually gotta help my boys with the rebels, which kind of sucks. He's getting ruined up there. I gotta deal with that guy's rebels, though. He's getting ruined, and he's about to lose all that land I worked hard to get him. And I'd rather he didn't do that. Nice, so I got my second idea group, and I think it's probably either religious or offensive, probably. Let's do offensive. I like that. And we can also focus our military. What is going on here? Oh, we left war taxes on like idiots. Don't do that, guys. It's not the way. And unfortunately, this war is kind of annoying because I had to deal with this rebel situation, which has gotten really bad, out of control, basically. So I might have to actually end the war and just kind of move on to the next one, sort of thing. Just take some money, I guess. I mean, if we could cripple him with money, it's fine. It's just I should probably push on in this war and make it work. It's just really awkward that my guy has so many rebels to deal with. And I'm not too upset with that. Let's just do that. Again, I've not been fighting these optimally, but we're crippling him slowly. Even if it's financially crippling him, that's fine. Let's just, we're happy with that. It's worth the war for the money, honestly. Because every time I do this, I'm going to be in a good spot financially. You can see I'm completely out of debt. I can kind of just deal with this rebel problem that I probably should have sorted out before the war. Even though it's not ideal, I'm not crushing the Ottomans. He's definitely feeling it. Yeah, I'm not overly upset with just kind of collecting from the bank of the Ottomans. So my war exhaustion is pretty bad. Yeah, I didn't realize that rebels were just eating this guy alive. So that was not ideal. And I'm going to grab my third reform. Let's do expanded royal court. That's what I like to do normally. So I got this as a mission done here, which is nice. You get an advisor that's really, really cheap. And we could definitely hire that guy. You see, he's only 192. And we could even raise him to a level. Maybe we'll raise him up a level. So he's a 4. We're going to use attacking people, which I'm happy about. We want Burgundy to get in there and start expanding. And there we go. I got the Burgundian inheritance here, the Burgundian succession. Of course, they've gone with us. I got this first try, which sometimes you might have to come save. I find that it's not very rare to get it first try either. I'll go to war with the Teutonic Order now. Get these provinces that I should have got, but I had that weird situation earlier. If you have extra points, I would try working towards this develop Ruthenia here. It's going to grant you all these provinces over here, so you just kind of have to start. I think you got to dev some of them more than once, but a lot of them you just dev one time, so I would just go around and deving all of them. And I have extra admin points, so this is why I'm doing that. And I'll come back to this later. Of course, I've devved all of them except for the one you dev 5 times. So I don't quite have the points to do that, but I did have extra points, so I got most of that done, and we'll come back to that in a bit. Brandenburg's trying to steal Koenigsberg. He wants to form Prussia. I can get behind that. I'll just get a nice surround on him and take those provinces there. That should be okay. We'll be taking the rest a little bit later. I can go ahead and make France return all those provinces that he took earlier to Burgundy. That's very nice. This should be a pretty nice inheritance later on. And I'm waiting to do this because I don't have the capacity or the points to do it. Remember, it gives you provinces that's going to overextend you, so you want to like strategically, be in a good spot to get it done before you click it. And I do plan to actually attack the Ottomans again, because, in accordance with the prophecy, we have to throw away at least another war into them. So here's my early game template. I've probably seen this before. I do like to do 12-4-4 as kind of the, like 1490-ish to maybe 1550. Later on, if you try to fish for the Crown debate, it gets harder and harder. If you have good Crown land, the chances of getting it go down, so you really have to be patient if you want to continue to get that. I'm going to go ahead and complete this mission now that I kind of have a bit of money to spare. You'll select force the Lithuanians to sign the agreement. This will give you a bunch of their land, and you want to core that up. And you'll want to improve relations with them as well, as it's going to kind of make them a little upset. Finished our S-tragedias, and don't be afraid to be super imbalanced, because you literally have espionage to be super imbalanced. It gives you negative corruption, so don't feel bad about being unbalanced. And start focusing on our military, and I don't know why we don't have advisors, but make sure you guys always have advisors. I'll go ahead and attack Brandenburg, and that should be fine. Don't need to call in France, because that's overkill. And go to an end of that war. That was obviously a really easy war. It's more or less we're just taking a bunch of his provinces and ending the war there. Can't take everything, of course. It's just too much war score. Not much we can do about that. A lot of times Muscovy would have had these provinces, and I would have taken them earlier. That's just not how it turned out. So I'm going to go and attack him. It should be super easy. In fact, I'm probably not even going to do anything. Let my subjects handle it. And this will be a feeding Lithuania situation. Now pay attention to this mission here. You want to get exactly 59 cities to take the most advantage of Lithuania, because then basically you'll just click them, and then you'll, get them all later on. So try to get that min-max if possible. That will just be kind of helpful. I'd recommend you start making your subjects get claims for you, and you're going to do that by just going to this menu, and you just select provinces of interest around your guys, and that way they will get claims for you. So I can end this war officially here. Not sure if I can take everything in one war or not. It's like, yes, I could. And we could even take Riga, sure. So we'll take Riga, some money, and then we'll go and take all of the Livonian order and money. And no one really cares I'm doing this. Not really. I mean, they might care a little bit, but not really. And I'm going to give this all away to my subject. Of course, double check this. Okay, we know he can take quite a few more provinces, 15. So let's go ahead and grant him all of these. So now we can take a look back and say, okay, he can have 5 more provinces granted to him. That's probably going to be either Novgorod or Muscovy. I find this strange, but it would be a convenient thing if Burgundy stayed as a subject. And because I said that, it'll definitely not happen. But if you get that weird luck, having him as a vassal or a union is actually super nice. And I don't mind if you miss that RNG that you get the inheritance, because you're already really high on your gov cap. And having vassals fight for you is always nice. That being said, we're going to go to our war with the Ottomans once again. 3rd time's the charm, as they say. So hopefully we could do a little bit of a better job fighting them this time. And I actually think because my wars with them haven't gone great, it's actually kind of good for the sake of showing you guys like a non-perfect run, right? Like, I made mistakes. Speaking of mistakes, boys, here we go. Here we go. Day one. Day one. Yikes. All right, guys, don't just rush into the capital day one. He's apparently standing there for no reason. It's better to throw so I can show you guys how badly you could throw and still do well as Poland. See, that's what I'm really here to do. Oh, guys, pay attention to what you make the war goal so you don't end up making the war goal Mansur. Just as a, tip. So our subjects have managed to make it across the water, which I have no idea how they did, but we'll just, we'll thank them for their blessings. Here's the birth of Lithuania. So we hit the 1500s, which is looking pretty solid, I'd say. Just want to end the war here, take some money, Constantinople, and the crossing province as well. I'm actually going to give these to Hungary, and I'm going to give a bunch more provinces to Hungary, kind of. I plan to give Hungary a bunch of stuff that I just kind of neglected this to do, but I'm going to give him all these provinces over here. He can handle all of this problems that I don't want to handle, which is really nice of him. We're just going to kind of give these provinces to him, and we're eventually going to kind of push Hungary this way, and we're going to push Bohemia kind of into Europe. So we're going to use our subjects to kind of expand as well as ourselves. And as per usual, we'll pay off our loans with the Ottomans money, and there'll be a little bit of extra cash. We could actually put some money into our economy. All right, the Duchess of Burgundy dies. Okay. Unfortunately, this happened. I actually wanted to use Burgundy to do other things, but that's probably why it happened, because the game knows when you want things, okay? They know. You have to not let the game know that you want things or it's over. So, unfortunately, when you get this event, you're going to need to state up a lot of things, and it's going to cause you problems, but I would recommend stating everything, and then we'll handle the problems it provides in a second. And then you're just going to have to assign out some of these land rights. It will, of course, hurt your situation with your crown land. That's fine. I mean, that's just kind of what it is. But, and we have one extra state, too, which is kind of nice. So we can actually get 4 of these things. But I don't quite want to grant the 4th one yet, because my crown land took a big hit from assigning those already. I should probably collect from the English Channel now. Make a little bit more money that way. And I can also collect from Champagne instead of Kiev. Just a little bit of money. I don't obviously don't make much from trade, but it'll just help a little bit. And we are now we're at 21% crown land. It's not great, but it's fine. We go ahead and attack the Teutons here and just kind of finish them up. Might as well call in France, I guess. Just I don't know why, but you know, they haven't really been that helpful for me, so they might as well get in here for one more. Look, we got excommunicated, which is a little annoying, but probably expected because we didn't improve relations with the Papal controller, so it is what it is. Might declare this, and that's fine. We'll just, probably just going to declare this. This will help with the religious reform anyways, so a little bit of a mistake. We'll go ahead and end this war and grab these 2 provinces here. I should let us complete a mission as well here. And complete this one. Yeah, we should have had that much earlier in a different way, but the game kind of had other plans. Go ahead and attack Novgorod now. Just want to get that, the provinces I need out of him taken care of. So go ahead and attack Novgorod, who somehow was never attacked by Muscovy. Very weird game. In your game, it would probably be like you'd be attacking Novgorod or Muscovy again, right? You wouldn't be attacking Novgorod. He's probably long dead. That is perfectly fine. Every game's a little different. Now I know my guy can only take 5 more provinces, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and find the, 5 of the provinces I want him to have. Like this. It looks really nice for borders, so we're gonna end it when we can. We're gonna get those, and it looks good to me. I just again one of these 5 provinces to get my guy to max. So grab these. Looks good, and I'll grant these away to my subject. But before I do, I'm gonna grab this government rank here. Just gonna increase my gov cap a little bit. There we go. We've got 1,100, so we have a little bit of space now, which is a little bit of breathing room. We like that. We're going to go ahead and grant away the provinces to Lithuania. Go ahead and get that done. Like Bulgaria got released, which is kind of funny. Grab the burger loans to get my institution. That's something that I commonly do, and I recommend it. Get the institution, the burger loans that get you there. Feel free to grab those, and that is perfectly fine. And the Ottomans are no longer valid rivals, so I guess England is the next choice. At 100 power projection, we're looking pretty good. Now, I wanted to show you this. One thing here, I could actually form the Commonwealth. But again, we're not going to do that. We're going to become Piemontanese, get those mission trees done, and then Prussia, more mission trees done, and then form the Commonwealth, because this is going to give us about 15% more admin efficiency than if we just formed it now. Although I will say, if you wanted to form it now and go that route, you would still be in such a good spot, right? I wanted to briefly talk about one thing, too, is that I played really bad against the Ottomans in really all 3 of the wars, in some ways. The 3rd war is much better. And I think that's good to show you, just because it kind of shows you didn't have to play optimally to get to this point, right? We're the #1 great power. We're going to be doing a part 2 where we actually form Prussia. No light goal needed. I plan to make this guy to show you guys the whole process, not half of it. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed it, please consider subscribing, and have a great day.